So hey, let's go ahead and dive into the actual science about how weed seeds develop into your lawn. So we always have the conversation about weeds during the springtime, especially if you're a guru when it comes to lawn or you just have a green thumb and do your own lawn. Weeds always are a topic of conversation. So when we look at it, people that want a weed-free lawn, they are doing the right things. You're mowing your lawn, you're watering it, you're maybe even throwing down some fertilizer, but the weeds still end up showing up. So how do weed seeds actually develop in the soil is the question here. And then why do they continue to keep coming back year after year? So here, it's gonna all start with what we call the weed seed bank. So every lawn has one. It's not just something you can see, but it's there. Thousands of dormant weed seeds sitting just beneath the soil, waiting for the right moment to sprout. Some have been there for years, some have been there for weeks, some have been there for just over a decade, right? One crabgrass plant alone, just think about it this way, one crabgrass plant alone can produce up to 150,000 seeds. So even if just one slips through and the seed actually goes to actually germinate, boom, you've got a whole new generation ready to roll in. So the question is, but how do they get there in the first place? There's going to be a ton of different answers for this. We can look at wind, we can look at birds, we can look at animals, we can look at foot traffic, we can look at your lawnmower, we can look at mulch, we can look at compost, we can look at just anything, really, you name it. So weed seeds, they're all travelers. That's like the one way to describe them. They blow in, they get tracked in, or even just brought in with contaminated soil or mulch. And once they're settled into your lawn, they're just waiting on the green light to get going. So the question here is, what triggers them? It's going to be all about the timing and the conditions, right? So once soil temperatures rise, moisture levels increase, and sunlight will then hit the right balance. That's when the weed seeds will start to germinate. That's why spring and fall are oftentimes the big weed seasons. This is where the pre-emergence will come into play. Think of it like really an invincible barrier that stops weeds from sprouting in the first place. So let's break it down just a little bit further. We've got annual weeds versus perennial weeds. So annual weeds like crabgrass, for example, they grow, they seed, and they die in one season. But then not only that, they leave tons of seeds behind. Perennials, on the other hand, like dandelions, they come back year after year from their roots. That's the big difference here, from their roots. And they spread seeds on top of that. So if you're only pulling what you see, you're not solving the real problem. Now, here's the real kicker. Healthy grass is going to be your best friend. It's going to be also your best defense. So thick turf naturally will be choking at the weeds by blocking sunlight at the soil surface. But if your lawn is thin or patchy, sunlight will get through and weeds have a clear path to germinate. That's why proper mowing height is going to be key here, along with fertilization, aeration, as well as watering. All of those things matter. It's not just the lawn care, it's more along the lines of the weed prevention. So the question here is, how do you continue to keep fighting back each and every time? Step one here is, making sure that you're blanket spraying when you need full lawn coverage. This will be tackling the widespread weed issues. Step two here is using a spot spraying for those stubborn areas. You can use a higher concentration and target them directly without really stressing the rest of your entire lawn. And then finally, you can build a strong lawn that weeds don't even really want to mess with. The goal isn't just to kill the weeds, it is to make your lawn so healthy that they never show up in the first place. Bottom line is that weeds start way before they even pop up. So if you're not managing the soil, the conditions, and your lawn's health, you're really just reacting. But if you're proactive, if you're strategic, and if you're consistent, you can really stay ahead of the game and enjoy a lawn that stays lush and weed-free all season long. And hey, if you ever need backup, you know where you can find us.